改めて言ってやるよ。俺がこのリングの法律であり正義だよ。
English, motherfucker. You speak it?
悔しかったらよ、文句があるならこの俺を倒してみろ。
Woo, I think he said he wants a beer, bro. Sons of bitches drinking all my beer. Ron, grab me a beer. Leave it to the white man to ask the first African-American world champion to do shit for him. This shit never ends. What the? Damn, Andre, you drank all the goddamn beer. Son of a bitch. Damn. What's going on, world? What's cracking, gang? What's the deal? It's everybody's favorite Unk, and today we got a triple threat.
The real, the authentic, the one and only triple threat is in the ring.
That's right, we got a triple threat. We got three really dope figures from the Super 7 Ultimates Wrestling line. We got Andre the Giant, Matt Cardona, and of course, Evil. Now, before we hop right into it, you know I always like to ask a question to make these videos a little bit more interactive for me and for you. So the question I propose today, since we have three different wrestling superstars from three different kind of generations almost, and three different companies, what is your favorite wrestling promotion of all time? For me, it's going to be ECW to ECW, and a close second will be WWE, just for the longevity, but especially the late 90s Attitude Era WWE. That's what I grew up on. But ECW is number one, and WWE number two. But leave that in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite wrestling promotion is. Let's have a discussion. Now let's get into the MSRP on these things. I got all three of these for half off. Had Blue Line Collectibles in Philly. If you saw my last hunt video, I got him half off. The guy who owns the shop was retiring, so he was getting rid of everything. So I got a good deal on him. But MSRP, the Andre the Giant, I believe, goes for $55, and the Matt Cardona and the Evil both go for $45. I believe that's what all of these Super 7 Ultimates in the wrestling line at least go for. I could be wrong, but I will put some more info on the screen as you're watching this review. So yeah, and I'll tell you right now, man, honestly, you know, for the most part, well worth the price when compared to other wrestling lines, which we'll get into. But there's some really, really cool things about these figures, and there's also a few things that really bug me. We're gonna get into all the deets, but before we do that, let's take a look at the packaging. Now, first we're gonna look at them with the sleeve on, and then we're gonna look at them with the sleeve off. If you are a Super 7 collector, to me, this is kind of a big selling point of not only the wrestling Super 7 line, but also any other line of Super 7 figures. Their boxes are so damn cool. And if you look at the sleeve on the Andre the Giant, of course you got the 8th wonder of the world on there. You got the tail of the tape, 7'2", 520 pounds, a legendary wrestling champion. On the back, you got just Andre the Giant action figure. It says where he's from, Grenoble in the French Alps. And you got a picture of him on both sides. Really cool stuff. Taking a look at the Matt Cardona sleeve, it's a little bit more basic. It does come with a cool little like golden foil championship on the front that says the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. And I was really excited for this Matt Cardona because, man, he's a figure collector, so you know he's gonna make sure they go off on his figure. On the back, that belt strap just kind of wraps around, and on the side, you have more of that foil. It says Scratch the Itch, and of course, the Major Figure Wrestling Podcast on the other side. And Evil's is the most basic. Of course, you have that New Japan King of Sport logo on there, that iconic New Japan King of Sport. It just says New Japan on the back, and they all say Ultimates on the top of the box. Let's look at them outside of the sleeve real quick. Now, like I said, man, this is a big selling point of the Super 7 Ultimates to me, is the packaging. You have that cool packaging with the ropes on the front for Andre, and man, this thing is gonna look so good on your shelf. And on the back, you got a little blurb about Andre the Giant with a picture of him with his iconic fro. We're not gonna read it all, but it's a little bio on Andre, and it's pretty cool to have. And then moving on to Matt Cardona, same deal. Got your ropes in the front. It says Scratch That Figure Itch at the top. I really like the graphics on the Matt Cardona box. And then on the back, same thing, little blurb with the picture of him on the side. It says Always Ready up there up top. Looks really, really cool, really clean. And then on Evil's box, same thing. You got the different color ropes looking more like a strong style New Japan ring. On the back, there's not a blurb. It's just the tail of the tape. It has his Twitter and his finisher on there as well. And it has the kanji saying King of Darkness Evil. One thing that is different about the Evil box is that on the top, you do have it saying New Japan Pro Wrestling King of Sports. So that's pretty cool. But enough about the boxes, man. What we're gonna do is crack each one of these bad boys open separately. Take a look at the details, take a look at the accessories, the articulation, the whole gamut. So let's start with the one I'm least excited about to the one I'm most excited about. Let's start with Matt Cardona. All right, now getting the broski out of the box here, and just so you guys know, I'm more familiar with Matt Cardona as a Long Island Ice Z, you know, Zack Ryder in WWE, but I really was interested to see what this Matt Cardona figure was gonna be like. And opening this guy straight up out of the box, the face is okay, but the paint is excellent. Not perfect, but it's plentiful. There's paint all over the place is the first thing I noticed. The face sculpts to me on these figures as a whole, and we'll see as we get more into them, they're a little bit more cartoony, and I think that's kind of the style that Super 7 was going for. I do much prefer that kind of realistic style that Mattel and Jazzwares does, but what they lack in realism, they make up for in paint and spades. The chest hair is painted so damn cool. I really like the way they do it compared to the way that Mattel does theirs, and to the way that AEW Jazzwares does theirs as well. And look, man, he's got nipples on his chest, which, you know, I don't think WWE figures have nipples that I know of, so that's pretty cool. The jean jacket is just awesome. Look at all the deco, man. All the deco, the paint, whatever you want to call it. It's so good. It's executed so well, and I love that it's that, like, you know, very, very pliable, rubbery material. I think that suited this figure better than going with cloth goods. The sculpt is solid. The muscles in the legs look really, really awesome. Everything on this figure just looks really, really good, man. He looks very toyetic, looks like a wrestler. One thing I do notice is that the joints are a different color, which kind of throws me off a little bit. That's always a big no-no for me if you've seen any of my reviews. There's a few mishaps on the boots and the zippers, and you know, like I said, the faces look a little bit cartoony, but other than that, hey man, this guy looks like $1 million bucks. I really like the way he looks. All right, now let's get into the accessories for old Matt Cardona here, man. He comes with a smorgasbord of accessories. I love it. He's got the mic, has painted really, really well. He's got the Major Figure Wrestling Podcast logo on it. He comes with the $1,000 bills with his face on it. Again, painted really cool as well. The green's a little off for me for money, but like I said, I feel like they're going for that cartoony look, so it works. He comes with lots of hands. He comes with a set of fists, set of open hands, and the pointing hands that are on in the box. The open hands are painted kind of sloppily, but you know, I'll give it a pass because all the other paint is so good. He comes with dog tags as well, and the dog tags, the paint's kind of on those as well too, but I'm not really going to display them with these dog tags. They're kind of just, you know, cheap and uninspired. I don't know what they're supposed to be for, but like I said, I'm not too familiar with his character in GCW or wherever he's wrestling these days. And then the coolest part is he comes with a little minifigure, much like that G.I. Joe Classified Sergeant Slaughter. So I really love that. And you can tell that an action figure collector was behind this. Like, you can tell he was like, hey guys, go off on my figure because I'm going to critique it, I'm going to judge it, and so is everyone else. And for the faces on Matt Cardona, he does come with the MWF hat, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast hat face, the tongue out face, and the smiling face. And I think this comes with a great amount of accessories, and he looks damn good. Getting into articulation. Now this is where it gets interesting. The head does not have really any range. It doesn't really go up or down. It goes full 360, and I think I know why. It's on a double ball peg or a dumbbell joint, whatever you want to call it, and it has no range because the way that the ball peg is engineered is just so bad. Like, they need to like move the placement of it so you can actually move it up and down, because to me a double ball peg is better than that hinge joint, but when you put it like this it just doesn't work, and it's just not worth it, man. Just really bad. That really disappoints me. Love the arms. The arms can go really high up in a T-pose, but no butterfly joint. You do get a bicep swivel. Elbows are single jointed, but they're pinless and look super good, and they get pretty good range, and they also swivel at the elbow as well. The ab crunch is meh. I always prefer a diaphragm joint, but it's fine. No waist swivel whatsoever. I think maybe I need to heat them up a little bit, but no waist swivel. Maybe we'll come back to that later and I'll revise things and let you know. The legs are fine. You can do pretty much the full splits, which is cool. The hidden thigh swivel is cool. I like that. It's hidden at the trunks up there in that little joint. Single jointed knee. No boot swivel, which is disappointing, but the ankle rocker is awesome and can hinge back and forth really far. This is the best ankle rocker I've seen on any wrestling figure that I own. So, good job on that one, Super 7. Now getting into the King of Darkness, Evil, of New Japan Pro Wrestling fame. First of all, fresh out of the package, I'm loving the way this head sculpt looks. I like it way better than the Matt Cardona head sculpt. It looks a little bit more realistic. I just like that look better. But I am noticing there's some paint bleed on that head sculpt, and that's not a good sign fresh out of the box. I'm loving the soft goods, love the soft goods. Let's go ahead and take the jacket off real quick. Man, this jacket looks so good. Let's see how it looks without the jacket. But as I'm taking off the jacket here, you can see that there's a lot of bleeding on this figure. It's on the arms, it's on the legs, and Oh man, that is just a figure ruiner right there. And I was really, really stoked on this Evil. I passed up Tanahashi to get him. I passed up Bushi to get him. And now I think I made a mistake because, man, like, the cloth goods look so good, man. And the head sculpts look good, but the bleeding onto the skin of the figure ruins it. I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna have to display him with the jacket. Like, I'm not gonna take the jacket off at this point. But anyway, that's disappointing. Let's get into his accessories. Now, like I said, the robe is so damn good. It is pretty much the epitome of what high quality soft goods is at its best. So good. There's bendy wire in the hood. I mean, it just looks really, really good, man. Like, listen, this is one of the best soft goods I've ever seen and held in my hand. But the bleeding on the figure kills it. And I don't know if it's the robe that causes that or the plastic that they use that causes that. But that's just a bummer, man. That is a big, big bummer. The scythe, again, looks really, really good. It's really sharp and awesome as well. One thing I will say is it could use a little wash, but the scythe looks really, really cool, and that's definitely a unique thing to come with the wrestling figure. I mean, obviously he uses it in his entrance, but, you know, it's just so cool to have a figure with the scythe. You can kind of put him with different displays as well. You know, like with your, Mythic Legions, or even with, like some of that Dungeons and Dragons NECA stuff as well. He comes with pointing pose hands, and the tape is painted very, very well compared to the ones on Matt Cardona. He comes with two sets of these, so one pointing finger for each side, and then the kind of quasi open hand on the other side for his little signature pose. He comes with chop hands to lay those chops in and turn your chest to hamburger meat. He comes with grab hands, and he also comes with scythe holding hands as well. Comes with one head sculpt compared to Matt Cardona, who comes with a few. It's a yelling face, and it looks really, really good. No bleeding on this one, so that's good. I think that bleeding was from the hood. Now, his articulation is pretty much the same as Matt Cardona. You should probably warm him up before posing. He was a little stiff compared to Matt. Maybe it's because he was in that robe in his box. Lots of cracking on this guy. He does have a completely different sculpt from Matt Cardona, which I really appreciate. I appreciate that there's all these different sculpts. They look really, really good and really unique. The one thing that's different on this one is the elbows don't swivel. You still have that double ball peg that doesn't work at all, which is annoying. But yeah, man, standard, same old thing. Single jointed knees, pinless. Single jointed elbows, pinless. Not bad articulation, just leaves a lot to be desired. And you can tell that the budget goes to the paint and the deco and all that on these figures and the sculpt and whatnot. But same thing with the articulation on this one. And now for the main event, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. And right out of the box, man, the face sculpt I've seen better. I honestly prefer the face sculpts on the Mattel stuff. They got that Ultimate Andre that I believe is out on ringside right now, and the Elite Series 100 Andre, where the face sculpt looks a lot better, honestly. But the shading is awesome, and that's always a plus, man. There's shading all over this figure, man. And like, I'm recording this audio after doing all this video, and this is the figure that I noticed the nipples on. I was like, oh, he's got nipples, and that's really, really cool. And Andre has nipples, man. I appreciate that. But the shading is great, and the sculpt is magnificent. You know, he's got his little fat rolls on the back, his little love handles. The legs are wide. He's just such a hulking, heavy figure, and it's honestly such a great Andre sculpt. I'm definitely going to pick up that Mattel Ultimate Andre and kind of see how it looks compared to this one, but I love this sculpt, man. It looks really, really cool, and I think it's a great representation of Andre. It could work on the face, but it works. Now, getting into accessories, he comes with a smaller lot of accessories, but I think they work for him. He's got relaxed hands. He's got those chop hands, once again, to turn it into hamburger meat. He's got the beer holding hands. And he also comes with a beer that says Giant Beer Co., which is awesome because, you know, Andre likes his beers. We've all heard about the legend of Andre the Giant knocking down all those beers at the bar with all of his homies. And for his head, he does come with an additional yelling head. It's also I do appreciate that the teeth are painted yellow because Andre did have yellow teeth, but it's the wrong color yellow. That's like, it's like they like use the same yellow that they use on the tights, but only put one coat on or something. It's really weird. A wash would have been better. I will say that one thing I do wish is that instead of one can of beer, like give us like a 24 case for Andre. Like that's what the legend is that he would knock down a bunch. Give us a 24 case, give us a bottle of wine, give us some more alcohol with Andre. But I think that's a pretty good spread of accessories with Andre here. Now for the articulation, man, this one's interesting. I honestly think the Andre has the best articulation out of all three figures, which is crazy because he's so damn big. Now listen, that double ball peg sits lower in the chest, allowing for tilt and attitude, and he can look up and down. So many great dynamic posing opportunities. I just love it. I don't get why they couldn't do that with Matt Cardona and with Evil. Maybe it's because Andre is just a bigger figure and like internally it was easier to fit that in there. You know, I'm not gonna take it apart and find out, but yeah, I don't know why they couldn't do that. The T-pose is more limited than the others. But you know, that's fine for Andre. You know, single jointed elbows again, pinless joint. Does not swivel at the elbow as well. The diaphragm is really weird to me though, because the diaphragm joint can swivel 360, but you can't really tilt it or move it front and back. So to me, like, what's the point of having a diaphragm joint? So you nailed it on the double ball peg, but the diaphragm joint, you just kind of said, oh, we'll just give him swivel. And then on top of that, the waist swivels on Andre, whereas the waist doesn't swivel on the other two figures, but the waist and the diaphragm both swivel. It's like, if you're gonna give us a waist swivel, give us a diaphragm twist. Don't give us a swivel. Like, let us be able to turn it side and side, tilt it front and back. Really weird choice there, but I mean, it's there. It's there. You're not really gonna use it because it's gonna be just weird to use. And the feet and legs are the exact same as the other figures. For a bigger figure, he definitely has pretty good range, and that diaper piece is like kind of that softer rubber, so you can get a little bit more range out of it. All right, now getting into some size comparisons, man. I'm gonna compare these guys to some Mattel stuff, then to some Jazzware stuff, and then to some random stuff. First, you've got them all paired up here against the Elite Defining Moments Undertaker, the Ultimate Kane, the Elite Ruthless Aggression Shelton Benjamin, and the Elite Rey Mysterio. And for another Mattel comparison, we have him up against the Kevin Nash Walmart exclusive that just came out. We've got him up against an Elite Big Viscera, an Ultimate Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the Elite Paulie Dangerously. And I wanted to put Andre up against some taller guys back there in the back row, and he's hawking, man. He's hawking over everybody, which is really, really good. He scales really well. And then for some Jazzwares comparisons, we've got him up against the Supreme Cody Rhodes. We've got him up against the Street Fighter Kenny Omega. We've got him against the TNT champion Miro, and against Andrade El Idolo. And these guys all scale pretty perfectly as well. And just for some random action figure comparisons, we've got him up against some Hasbro stuff. We got him up against the House of X Wolverine. We've got him going against the NECA War Duke from Dungeons and Dragons, the King in Black 2-pack Venom, and a Dragon Stars Broly. And once again, man, Andre's making Venom look small. He's making War Duke look small, and that's a 7-inch figure, so bravo on that. I think these must be like true scale then, because if he's 7'2", he looks like he's, you know, about 7'2" compared to War Duke if he was 7 foot, because he's a 7-inch figure. So I like that. I like it a lot. All right, guys, now I know this probably was a long one because it was 3 figures, and I did it a little bit differently than I normally did, so I was kind of trying to blitz through it, but I'm going to give you my final thoughts real quick. Firstly, I will say out of all 3, my favorite figure ended up being the Matt Cardona. I was looking the most forward to Andre the Giant, but Matt Cardona to me is just miles above the other 2 as far as execution, just the level of detail, the accessories, everything about it is just a better figure than the other 2. And you can tell, like I said earlier, that a person who is an action figure collector is this figure, because I know he was probably in Super 7's ear like, you better make my damn figure good, you feel me? The Evil, I was really disappointed with the bleeding on the skin. Like, that ruined it for me. The Evil might have been my favorite figure of the bunch if it wasn't for the bleeding on the skin. It's just really, really bad. It's an action figure ruiner. And if I didn't get Evil for half off, I would want my money back. I'd be pissed. But I got him for what, $22. So can't be too mad at that. The Andre is an excellent sculpt and really good articulation in comparison to the other figures. You know, I think that, you know, you should definitely buy this Andre if you're an Andre the Giant fan or just an old school wrestling fan. It's a good one to have. His attire is not one that I don't think Mattel has made. So overall, I do recommend the Super 7 Ultimates Wrestling line. They're pretty good figures. Some issues with that cloth goods on Evil, and I have a feeling that Matt Cardona knew that, and that's why he probably got a rubber vest instead. I'd really be interested to see if the other figures that come with cloth goods that they make have those same issues. But aside from that really, really big boo-boo, I'm just going to go ahead and give them all a number grade together. And if I'm going to give them a number grade altogether, I'm going to give them a 7.5 out of 10. The Matt Cardona carries it for me. I think the Matt Cardona is easily an 8, maybe even an 8.5. But with the bleeding issues on Evil and the articulation on all of them, I can't give these guys collectively a grade higher than the 7.5. But if you guys do own any Super 7 figures, not just wrestling figures, what do you think of the line? These are my first Super 7 figures, so I think I'm definitely going to dive more into the Super 7 wrestling stuff. If you guys don't have these, are you planning on picking them up? What do you think? Leave all your comments below. Let me know if I missed anything going over these guys. Like I said, I kind of was blitzing through it because there's 3 figures and I've got some other videos to work on as well. But I really wanted to get this one out because I was excited when I picked these guys up. But yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like the video, hit the dislike button. Sub to the channel if I didn't annoy you too much. And like I always say, until next time, peace.